की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तरशतश्मत् श्रील भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तरशतश्मत् श्रील भक्तिवेदांत गोसाई महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तरशतश्मत् श्रील भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तरशतश्मत् श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्रील गोक्षरस प्रभुजी महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास प्रभुजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूप गौड़ीय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल पतदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गोपाल शारद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाता गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंज श्यामा कुंज की जय। श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगा माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। She, oh, what's this Akadashi's called? Is it Pap Mochani? One second. Huh. Shri Pap Mochani Akadashi Titi ki jai. Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Srila Govinda Ghosh Thakur Tirobhav Titi ki jai. Huh. And it says in the Bengali calendar, it says, Varahanagar Shri Shriman Mahaprabhur Shubha Vijay Smaranutsav. Ki jai, whatever that is. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Maybe we can read something about Govinda Ghosh when we're finished. I'll look and see when we're finished reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I'll see if there's anything about Govinda Ghosh I can find on the internet. Dandavat pranams Ishwari Mataji. Dandavat pranams Madhavi Didi. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam pravrajantam anupetam apekta krityam dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo bhinedo stang sarva bhuta hridaya munimanatosmi narayanam namaskrityam narang chaiva narottamam devim saraswati vyasam tato jayamudirayet. Shrinvatang Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridantasto Yabhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam Nashta Prayesh Bhavadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Tavaivasmi na jivami tvaya vina. Iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam. Bhakta vihina aparada lakshay kshiptashtakama titarangamadhe. Kripa maitam sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charana ravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat pranams Pradyumna Prabhu and Dandavat pranams Pramila Mataji. Okay, so yesterday. Oh, and today's reading is going to be short. We're only reading 3,600 words. Yesterday we read 7,250 words. Today is only 3,600. So I'm just going to read these translations of the verses that we read yesterday. So Lord Shiva became silent, understanding that Sati would be destroyed in both cases, whether he prevented her from going or whether she went. Sati was anxious to see her relatives, but also afraid of Shiva's warning. Her mind unsettled, she moved in and out of the room. Upset at being forbidden, Sati cried out of affection for her relatives, her body shaking as she glanced at Shiva in great anger, as if to burn him. Tormented by extreme emotions of anger and lamentation, her intelligence bewildered by her womanly nature, Sati left Shiva, who had given her half of his body. Thousands of followers of Lord Shiva, headed by Maniman and Mada, followed Sati with Nandi in front, along with many yakshas. Sati was placed on the bull Nandi, and was given her pet bird Sarika, a ball, a lotus, a mirror, a white umbrella, a fan, and a garland. Accompanying was a singing party, and the whole procession was as pompous as a royal parade. Sati reached Daksha's sacrificial arena, which was splendid with the chanting of Vedic hymns, sacrificial animals, great personalities, and various paraphernalia. No one received Sati properly out of fear of Daksha. Only her mother and sisters embraced her with tears of affection and glad faces. Sati did not accept the seat and gifts offered by her sisters, mother and aunts, and did not reply to their words of reception because her father did not welcome her. Sati realized that the sacrifice was devoid of any oblations for Lord Shiva, and that she, being Shiva's wife, was not received by Daksha. Thus Sati became greatly angry and looked at Daksha as if she were going to burn him. Seeing her anger, Lord Shiva's followers became ready to kill Daksha, but Sati stopped them. Being angry and sorrowful, she started condemning the process of fruitive sacrifices and their proud performers like Daksha. Sati condemns Daksha. Who except you would hate Lord Shiva? Who has no superior or rival? Oh, who except you would hate Lord Shiva? You, who is, Shiva, who has no superior or rival in this world. Shiva, to whom no one is dear or inimical. Shiva, who is most beloved of all. Shiva, who is the soul of all beings. And Shiva, who is without enmity. Sadhus like Lord Shiva find no fault in others' qualities, but they magnify even meager good qualities in others. But a man like you simply finds faults even in great souls. Therefore, You're asadutama. Ati asadutama. And there's, this is interesting, levels of sadhu and asadu. So a sadhu is one who accepts even faults in others, since the faults can, a sadhu accepts even the faults in others, since the faults can eventually be transformed by certain methods into good qualities. A mahattara overlooks the faults and sees the good qualities. A mahattama takes the small good qualities and magnifies them, not seeing small faults. And ati mahattama sees good qualities in others where there are none. Now, an asadu is someone who thinks that someone's good qualities will turn into faults. A sadhutara sees faults only, overlooking the good qualities. A sadhutama takes small faults and magnifies them, seeing no good qualities at all. And ati asadutama, which Sati called Daksha, is someone who sees only faults in others, even where there are no faults. That was an interesting thing. It is not surprising that the materialists who accept the body as the self always criticize great souls with envy, and thus are diminished by the dust from the lotus feet of great Vaishnavas. And a link. In chapter 2, Daksha criticized Lord Shiva's name and conduct as actually being inauspicious. In this chapter, verses 14 to 16, Sati counters those statements. Lord Shiva's name purifies one of all sinful activities. Lord Shiva's order is never neglected. Lord Shiva's fame is pure. Lord Shiva's lotus feet are sought after by both materialists and transcendentalists. You have offended the friend of the universe, who is worshipped both by those seeking Brahmananda, by the bliss of Brahman realization, and those desiring material results. In spite of having externally inauspicious habits, no one, including Lord Brahma, considers that Lord Shiva is inauspicious. They carry the flowers offered to his lotus feet on their heads. Link. Sati so far argued that that one who vilifies a great personality is a lowly person. But Daksha might argue that Sati was vilifying her father, who was a great Prajapati. The answer is that Sati was defending Lord Shiva, and actually, she should have killed the offender Daksha instead of just vilifying him. She didn't even go far enough. How to treat the blasphemer of a Vaishnava. So Sati says, one should block one's ears and leave the place if one is unable to punish a blasphemer of a Vaishnava. Or one should cut his tongue and kill him, and then give up one's own life as atonement for hearing the criticism. Note A. By killing the blasphemer, one destroys his unlimited pain in hell. So such killing is not a sin. Note B. A Kshatriya should cut out the offender's tongue and kill him. Vaishyas and Sudras are not qualified to punish, so they should commit suicide. Brahmins are not able to give up their life, so they should cover their ears, remember Vishnu, and go away. My God, that is heavy. Link. Because Daksha, who blasphemed the master of religion, Lord Shiva, happened to be the father of Sati, she decided not to kill him, but to give up her own life. So Sati says, therefore I shall not maintain this body received from you, who have blasphemed Lord Shiva. The best treatment after taking poisonous food is to vomit it. Note. Sati, the Lord's external potency, can vanquish many universes, including many Dakshas. But to save her husband from the charge that he killed Daksha through his wife, she gave up her own life. Link. Sati responds to Daksha's accusation in chapter 2 that Lord Shiva does not follow the Vedic rules by explaining in this chapter, verses 19 to 20, that Shiva is beyond the Vedic rules. Elevated transcendentalists like Lord Shiva are not obligated to follow the rules of the Vedas. Therefore, it is better to follow one's own dharma and not criticize others. Both pravritti marg and nivritti marg are bona fide paths. If one wants to see these two in one person, that is contradictory. But both kinds of activities may be neglected by a person who is transcendentally situated. Pravritti marg is the path of, going up to higher planets and, progressing within this material world. And nivritti marg is giving up all material activities and getting rid of all this good karma and bad karma so that one may become liberated. But somebody who is completely transcendental to both, going higher in this material world and gaining liberation, somebody who's transcendentally situated, all these paths of these two, all these rules of these two paths are not relevant to that person. So like Lord Shiva, he doesn't need to follow all these different rules and stuff. So link, Daksha was thinking that although his daughter was chaste and adherent to her husband Shiva, she was living in the house of a lowly beggar, devoid of opulence. So Sati says, the opulences we possess are unattainable for people who engage in sacrifices for bodily necessities. Our powers can be achieved only by self-realized souls like the Kumaras and Narad. My body is a source of embarrassment since it comes from a person who has offended Lord Shiva. I condemn myself because of my connection with you. When Lord Shiva addresses me as Dakshayani, I at once become morose and lose my charming smile. Therefore, I shall give up my body. All right, so that's where we read up to. Okay. Maitreya Uvacha Ityadvare Daksham Anudashatruhan Kshitavadichin Nishasada Shantavak Sprishtva Jalam Pita Tukola Sambrita Nimilya Trigyoga Patam Samavishat. Maitreya the sage told Vidura, O annihilator of enemies. While speaking thus to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to absorb herself in the process of mystic yoga. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is said that when a man desires to quit his body, he dresses in saffron garments. Therefore, it appears that Sati changed her dress, indicating that she was going to quit the body given to her by Daksha. Daksha was Sati's father, so instead of killing Daksha, she decided that it would be better to destroy that part of his body which was hers. Thus, she decided to give up the body of Daksha by the yogic process. Sati was the wife of Lord Shiva, who is known as Yogeshwar, the best among all yogis, because he knows all the mystic processes of yoga. So it appeared that Sati also knew them. She knew all these mystic processes of yoga. Either she learned yoga from her husband, or she was enlightened because she was the daughter of such a great king as Daksha. The perfection of yoga is that one can give up one's body or release oneself from the embodiment of material elements according to one's desire. Yogis who have attained perfection are not subject to death by natural laws. Such perfect yogis can leave the body whenever they desire. Generally, the yogi first of all becomes mature in controlling the air passing within the body, thus bringing the soul to the top of the brain. When the body bursts into flames, the yogi can go anywhere he likes. This yoga system recognizes the soul, and thus it is distinct from the so-called yoga process for controlling the cells of the body, which has been discovered in the modern age. The real yoga process accepts the transmigration of the soul from one planet to another or one body to another, and it appears from this incident that Sati wanted to transfer her soul to another body or sphere. Kritva samana vanilojitasana sodhanamutapya chana chakrata shanarhridi stapya diyorasi stitam kantad bhruvor madhyam anindita nayat. First of all, she sat in the required sitting posture, and then she carried the life air upwards and placed it in the position of equilibrium near the navel. Then she raised her life air mixed with intelligence to the heart. Then she raised her life air mixed with intelligence to the heart, and then gradually towards the pulmonary passage, and from there to between her eyebrows. Purport. The yogic process is to control the air passing within the body in different places called Shat Chakra, the 6 circles of air circulation. The air is from the abdomen to the navel, from the navel to the heart, from the heart to the throat, from the throat to between the eyebrows, and from between the eyebrows to the top of the cerebrum. That is the sum and substance of practicing yoga. Before practicing the real yoga system, one has to practice the sitting postures because this helps in the breathing exercises which control the airs going upwards and downwards. This is a great technique which one has to practice to attain the highest perfectional stage of yoga, but such practice is not meant for this age. No one in this age can attain the perfectional stage of such yoga. But because people indulge in practicing sitting postures, which is more or less a gymnastic process, by such bodily gymnastics, one may develop good circulation and may therefore keep one's body fit. But if one simply restricts oneself to that gymnastic process, one cannot attain the highest perfectional stage. The yoga process, as described in the Keshava Shruti, prescribes how one can control his living force according to his desire and transmigrate from one body to another or from one place to another. In other words, yoga practice is not meant to keep the body fit. Any transcendental process of spiritual realization automatically helps one to keep the body fit, for it is the spirit soul that keeps the body always fresh. As soon as the spirit soul is out of the body, the material body immediately begins to decompose. Any spiritual process keeps the body fit without separate endeavor. But if one takes it that the ultimate aim of yoga is to maintain the body, then he is mistaken. The real perfection of yoga is elevation of the soul to a higher position or the liberation of the soul from material entanglement. Some yogis try to elevate the soul to higher planetary systems, where the standard of life is different from that of this planet, and where the material comforts, lifespan, and other facilities for self-realization are greater. And some yogis endeavor to elevate the soul to the spiritual world, the spiritual Vaikuntha planets. The Bhakti Yoga process directly elevates the soul to the spiritual planets, where life is eternally blissful and full of knowledge. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga is considered to be the greatest of all yoga systems. Evam swadeham mahatam mahiyasa moho samaropitam ankama adarat jihasati daksharusha manaswini tadharagatreshva nilagnidaranam. Thus, in order to give up her body, which had been so respectfully and affectionately seated on the lap of Lord Śiva, who is worshipped by great sages and saints, Sati, due to anger towards her father, began to meditate on the fiery air within the body. Purport. Lord Śiva is described herein as the best of all great souls. Although Sati's body was born of Daksha, Lord Śiva used to adore her by sitting her on his lap. This is considered a great token of respect. Thus Sati's body was not ordinary, but still she decided to give it up because it was a source of unhappiness because of its connection with Daksha. This severe example set by Sati is to be followed. One should be extremely careful about associating with persons who are not respectful to the higher authorities. It is instructed, therefore, in the Vedic literature that one should always be free from the association of atheists and non-devotees, and should try to associate with devotees. For by the association of a devotee, one can be elevated to the platform of self-realization. This injunction is stressed in many places in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. If one wants to be liberated from the clutches of material existence, then one has to associate with great souls. And if one wants to continue one's material existential life, then one may associate with persons who are materialistic. The materialistic way of life is based on sex life. Thus, both becoming addicted to sex life and associating with persons who are addicted to sex life are condemned in the Vedic literature, because such association will simply interfere with one's spiritual progress. However, association with great personalities, devotees who are great souls, will elevate one to the spiritual platform. Sati Devi decided to quit the body she had obtained from Daksha's body, and she wanted to transfer herself to another body so that she might have completely uncontaminated association with Lord Śiva. Of course, it is understood that in her next life, she would take birth as the daughter of the Himalayas, Parvati, and then she would again accept Lord Śiva as her husband. Sati and Lord Śiva are eternally related. Even after she changes her body, their relationship is never broken. Tata sabartush charanam pujasavam jagar gurush chintayate na chaparam tadarsha deho hatakalmasha sati sadhya praja jvala samadhi jagnina. Sati concentrated all her meditation on the holy lotus feet of her husband, Lord Śiva, who is the supreme spiritual master of all the world. Thus she became completely cleansed of all taints of sin and quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation on the fiery elements. Purport. Sati at once thought of the lotus feet of her husband, Lord Śiva, who is one of the three great personalities of Godhead in charge of the management of the material world. And simply by meditating on his lotus feet, she derived such great pleasure that she forgot everything in relationship with her body. This pleasure was certainly material because she gave up her body for another body that was also material. But by this example, we can appreciate the devotee's pleasure in concentrating his mind and attention on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu or Krishna. There is such transcendental bliss in simply meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord that one can forget everything but the Lord's transcendental form. This is the perfection of yogic samadhi, or ecstasy. In this verse it is stated that by such meditation, she became all contamination. What was that contamination? The contamination was her concept of the body derived from Daksha, but she forgot that bodily relationship in trance. The purport is that when one becomes free from all bodily relationships within this material world and simply places himself in the position of an eternal servant to the Supreme Lord, it is to be understood that all the contamination of his material attachment has been burned by the blazing fires of transcendental ecstasy. It is not necessary for one to manifest a blazing fire externally. For if one forgets all his bodily relationships within this material world and becomes situated in a spiritual identity, it is said that one has been freed from all material contamination by the blazing fire of yogic samadhi, or ecstasy. That is the topmost perfection of yoga. If one keeps his bodily relationships within this material world and poses himself as a great yogi, he is not a bona fide yogi. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 2.4.15, it is stated, Yat kirtanam yat smaranam. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, simply by remembering the lotus feet of Krishna, simply by offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is immediately freed from material contamination, the material bodily concept, by the blazing fire of ecstasy. This effect takes place immediately, without a second's delay. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, that Sati quit her body. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, that Sati quit her body means that she gave up within her heart her relationship with Daksha. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also comments that since Sati is the superintendent deity of the external potency, when she quit her body, she did not get a spiritual body, but simply transferred from the body she had received from Daksha. Other commentators also say that she immediately transferred herself into the womb of Menaka, her future mother. She gave up the body she had received from Daksha and immediately transferred herself into another, better body. But this does not mean that she got a spiritual body. Tatpashyatam ke bhuvicharbhutam maharhaheti vada sumahan ajayata anta priya daivattamasya devi jahavasun kena sati prakopita. When Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous roar all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod, Lord Śiva, quit her body in such a manner? Purport. There was a tumultuous roaring all over the universe in the societies of the demigods of different planets, because Sati was the daughter of Daksha, the greatest of all kings, and the wife of Lord Śiva, the greatest of all demigods. Why did she become so angry that she gave up her body? Since she was the daughter of a great personality and wife of a great personality, she had nothing to desire, but still she gave up her body in dissatisfaction. Certainly, this was most astonishing. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in the highest material opulence. There was nothing Sati could not achieve, either from her relationship with her father or from her relationship with the greatest of the demigods, but still, for some reason, she was dissatisfied. Therefore, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 126 explains that one has to achieve real satisfaction, yayatma suprasiddhiti. But Atma, the body, mind, and soul, all become completely satisfied only if one develops devotional service to the absolute truth. Savai pungsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir dhoksaje. Dhoksaj means the absolute truth. If one can develop his unflinching love for the transcendental supreme personality of Godhead, that can give complete satisfaction. Otherwise, there is no possibility of satisfaction in the material world or anywhere else. Just checking the comments. Thanks for all these notes, Prajuna Prabhu. Aho anatmyam maharasya pashyata prajapateryasya characharam praja jahavasunyad vimatatmaja sati manasvini manam abhikshnamarhati. It was astonishing that Daksha, who was a Prajapati, the maintainer of all living entities, was so disrespectful to his own daughter Sati, who was not only chaste, but was also a great soul, that she gave up her body because of his neglect. Purport. The word anatmya is significant. Atma means the life of the soul, so this word indicates that although Daksha appeared to be living, actually he was a dead body. Otherwise, how could he neglect Sati, who was his own daughter? It was the duty of Daksha to look after the maintenance and comforts of all living entities, because he was situated as Prajapati, the governor of all living entities. Therefore, how is it that he neglected his own daughter, who was the most exalted and chaste woman, a great soul, and who therefore deserved the most respectful treatment from her father? The death of Sati because of her being neglected by Daksha, her father, was most astonishing to all the great demigods of the universe. So yam durmarsha hridayo brahmadrucha loke pakirtim mahatim avapsyati Yarangajam swang purusha tirudyatam na pratyashedan vritaye paradhata. Daksha, who is so hard-hearted that he is unworthy to be a Brahman, will gain extensive ill fame because of his offenses to his daughter, because of not having prevented her death, and because of his great envy to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Daksha is described here as most hard-hearted, and therefore unqualified to be a Brahman. Brahmadruk is described by some commentators to mean Brahma Bandhu, or friend of the Brahmins. What does Brahmadruk mean here? Unworthy to be a Brahmin. Okay. A person who is born in a Brahmin family but has no Brahminical qualifications is called a Brahma Bandhu. Brahmins are generally very soft-hearted and forbearing because they have the power to control the senses and the mind. Daksha, however, was not forbearing, for the simple reason that his son-in-law Lord Śiva did not stand up to show him the formality of respect. He became so angry and hard-hearted that he tolerated even the death of his dearest daughter. Sati tried her best to mitigate the misunderstanding between the son-in-law and the father-in-law by coming to her father's house, even without an invitation. And at that time, Daksha should have received her, forgetting all past misunderstandings. But he was so hard-hearted that he was unworthy to be called an Aryan or a Brahman. Thus his ill fame still continues. Daksha means expert, and he was given this name because of his ability to beget many hundreds and thousands of children. Persons who are too sexually inclined and materialistic become so hard-hearted because of a slight loss of prestige that they can even tolerate the death of their children. Vadatevam jane satya drishvasu tyagamarbutam daksham tat parshadahantum udatishtan udahyuda. While people were talking among themselves about the wonderful voluntary death of Sati, the attendants who had come with her readied themselves to kill Daksha with their weapons. Purport. The attendants who came with Sati were meant to protect her from calamities. But since they were unable to protect their master's wife, they decided to die for her, and before dying, they wanted to kill Daksha. It is the duty of attendants to give protection to their master, and in the case of failure, it is their duty to die. Tesham apatatam vegam nishamya bhagavan Ṛbhus yagyagna gnena yajusha dakshinagno juhavaha. It came forward forcibly, but Bhrigu Muni saw the danger and offering oblations into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, immediately uttered mantric hymns from the Yajur Veda, by which the destroyers of yogic performances could be killed immediately. Purport. Here is one example of powerful hymns in the Vedas, which, when chanted, could perform wonderful acts. In the present age of Kali, it is not possible to find expert mantra chanters. Therefore, all the sacrifices recommended in the Vedas are forbidden in this age. The only sacrifice recommended in this age is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, because in this age it is not possible to accumulate the needed funds for performing sacrifices, not to speak of finding expert Brahmins who can chant the mantras perfectly. Advaryuna huyamane deva utpetirud ojasa Ṛbhavo namatapasa somang prapta sahasrasha. When Bhrigu Muni offered oblations into the fire, immediately many thousands of demigods named Ṛbhus became manifested. All of them were powerful, having achieved strength from Soma, the moon. Purport. It is stated here that many thousands of demigods named Ṛbhus became manifested because of the oblations offered in the fire and the chanting of the hymns from the Yajurveda. Brahmins like Bhrigu Muni were so powerful that they could create such powerful demigods simply by chanting the Vedic mantras. Vedic mantras are still available, but the chanters are not. By chanting Vedic mantras or hearing the Gayatri or Rig mantra, one can attain the results one desires. In the present age of Kali, it is recommended by Lord Chaitanya that simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one can attain all perfection. Tar alata yudai sarve pramata sahaguhyaka hanyamana disho bejur usharbir pramatejasa. When the Ṛbhu demigods attacked the ghosts and guhyakas with half-burned fuel from the yajna fire, all these attendants of Sati fled in different directions and disappeared. This was possible simply because of the Brahma Tejas, the Brahminical power. Purport. The word Brahma Tejasa used in this verse is significant. In those days, Brahmins were so powerful that simply by desiring and by chanting a Vedic mantra, they could accomplish very wonderful effects. According to the Pancharatric system, in this age, the entire population is supposed to consist of sudras because the Brahminical culture has been lost. But if anyone displays the signs of understanding Krishna consciousness, he should be accepted according to the Vaishnava Smriti regulations as a prospective Brahmin and should be given all facilities to achieve the highest perfection. The most magnanimous gift of Lord Chaitanya's is that the highest perfection of life is available in this fallen age if one simply adopts the process of chanting Hare Krishna, which will be able to bring about the fulfillment of activities and self-realization. Of all activities and self-realization. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 4th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Sati Quits Her Body. I love how Srila Prabhupada always goes to chanting the Mahamantra. So tomorrow, we will read, Lord Śiva creates Virabhadra and orders him to destroy Daksha. Then Virabhadra and his associates reach the sacrificial arena and people discuss about the cause of the dust storm and the power of Lord Śiva. And this destruction of Daksha's sacrifice by Shiva's followers and the activities of Virabhadra. He tore off Bhrigu's mustache, plucked out Bhaga's eyes, knocked out Pusha's teeth, and beheaded Daksha. We'll read all about that tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna just quickly see if there is something to read about Govinda Ghosh. Govinda Ghosh. I don't know, I need to put something that makes it, I don't get a bunch of Bengali people. Here. Govinda Ghosh from Gaudiya history. Let's see if there's anything on the vcvani.com website. Yes, okay, let's read from Srila Bharati Maharaj. Shri Govinda Ghosh Thakur. Today is Govinda Ghosh's disappearance day. This is a class from Srila Bharati Maharaj given on March 25th, 2017. Let's put this in reading view. Today is a special day. On this day, a festival called Shubha Vijay is celebrated at Varaha Nagar in honor of Sriman Mahaprabhu's auspicious arrival there. Okay, I read that in the Bengali calendar. I was wondering what that was. Wherever Mahaprabhu went, the people celebrate at those places on that day in remembrance of him. Since the time of Mahaprabhu's arrival at Varahanagar, the residents of Varahanagar would go to Jagannath Puri for his darshan every year. Along the way, they would also carry Raghava Pandit's jali, his bags of goods, with them for Mahaprabhu. Raghava Pandit's sister Damayanti, she would prepare all sorts of things like chutneys and pickles and dried things that Mahaprabhu would take throughout the whole year. And all those would be bundled up and they'd be put in big bags called jali, and all the residents would carry all these big bags on their heads all the way to Puri. Also today is the disappearance of Govinda Ghosh Thakur. Govinda Ghosh Thakur's Tirobhav, as he was properly referred to as Ghosh Thakur. Okay. Govinda Ghosh, Madhav Ghosh, and Vasudev Ghosh were three brothers who were all excellent kirtaniyas. At the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to dance in front of Lord Jagannath during the Rath Yatra, the devotees would divide into 7 groups and sing kirtan. There are 4 groups in the front, 1 on each side, and 1 in the back of the Rath, of the chariot. One of those kirtan groups included the 3 Ghosh brothers, with Govinda Ghosh appointed as the leader by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Govinda Ghosh had a son who left his body at a young age. Following his son's death, Govinda Ghosh, who used to serve a deity of Lord Gopinath, stopped his seva. Seeing this, Gopinath inquired. And that's a picture of that Gopinath. So Gopinath inquired, "Why have you stopped serving me?" Govinda Ghosh replied, "As my only son is no more, and my brothers live in different places, there's nobody to continue your service after me, and there's no one to serve me or perform my last rites either. After I leave this body, your seva will be stopped anyways. Considering this, I've stopped your seva." Then Gopinath said, "Why don't you consider me as your son? From today, I am your son eternally. I will perform your last rites." Thus, during the Tirobhav Titi of Govinda Ghosh Thakur, a carnival takes place at Ghosh Thakur's residence, a place not very far from Mayapur, 1 railway station away. Ooh, maybe I can go. And Lord Gopinath takes kushagras and performs the Shad ceremony for Ghosh Thakur. Every year after Mahaprabhu's appearance day, 14 vigrahas, deities from Krishna Nagar, are brought together there. I remember the king of Krishna Nagar used to bring all the vigrahas, all the deities, and have a grand festival there. I had never visited Lord Gopinath until once, while we were visiting Krishna Nagar for the annual festival of the Mat, Lord Gopinath appeared in my Shiksha Guru, Pujipad Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj's dream, and expressed his desire to accept some kheer, sweet rice made from milk. So Gopinath appeared in Srila Bhaktivinoda Puri Goswami Maharaj's dream and expressed his desire to accept some kheer from him. So Puri Goswami Maharaj went there and arranged for offering of kheer bhog. On that occasion, I had the fortune to visit and have darshan of Lord Gopinath. Whoa. There's so many stories of Srila Bhaktivinoda Puri Goswami Maharaj having Thakurji come in his dream. There's some fascinating stories. Anyways, I'll tell later. But yeah, there's Gopinath. Govinda Ghosh's Gopinath. From Ghosh Thakur's incident, we can see how the Lord is subservient to his devotees. Just because his devotee thought, "Oh, who will perform my last rites?" Gopinath himself proclaims, "I will do it." Thus, on this day, Gopinath himself performs the Shraddha ceremony. To this day, many from Mayapur attended the festival, but not as much to see Gopinath as to see the carnival, the Mela. The festival is popularly known as Ghosh Thakur's Mela. It is quite a grand festival. Many people put up stalls there, stay for 2 days to earn well, and leave. There's one person who is working on our fields. He once asked for the 3 days of leave, as he wanted to participate in Ghosh Thakur's Mela. The deity of Mahaprabhu for each of our mats came from there. Oh, really? The deity of Mahaprabhu for each of our mats came from there. Guru Maharaj would like it in that way, as it was symbolic of the fact that we worship Mahaprabhu of Navadvip. It had been almost 375 years now, and the carnival still happens in a grand fashion. On the disappearance day today, I pray at the lotus feet of Govinda Ghosh Thakur that if we develop similar firm faith and complete surrender as he had in the Lord's lotus feet, then our human birth will be successful. Jai Shri Govinda Ghosh Thakur ki Jai, Tadiya Shubha Tirubha Titi ki Jai. What's here in this Gaudiya history? Okay, this is really short. Let's read. As Kalavati Sati, Govinda Ghosh sings sweetly for Radha Govinda and Goloka Vrindavan. Kalavati Saki. So he's Kalavati Saki in Krishna's pastimes. Radha and Krishna's Lila. Shri Govinda Ghosh was known for his sweet kirtans at the annual Jagannath Rath Yatra festival. He and his two brothers Vasudeva and Madhav are eternal associates of Shri Chaitanya and Shri Nityananda. The Lord would immediately begin dancing whenever the Ghosh brothers would sing. The Ghosh brothers preached throughout their lives with music and song. Since he had no children, Govinda wondered who would perform his funeral rites. Hey, that's not what we read. His child died. Anyhow, Shri Gopinath, Govinda Ghosh's deity, appeared in a dream promising that he himself would do everything. Since today the Gopinath deity arranges for the Tirabhav Mahotsav of his pure devotee Govinda Ghosh. As Kalavati Saki, Govinda Ghosh sings sweetly for Radha Govindaji and Goloka Vrindavan. His samadhi is in the 64 samadhis area. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Garangandari Giridhari, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shata Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shata Śrīmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shata Śrīmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shata Śrīmad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shata Śrīmad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Mahabhagavat Shila Gokshara Babaji Maharaj ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Padadash Raghunath, Shara Gosai Prabhu ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari, Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Hairas Thakur ki Jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Kshetra Mandala, Gaura Mandala, Braja Mandala, Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki Jai, Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Brinda Devi ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai, Shri Papa Papa Mochani Akadashi Titi ki jai. Shri Akadashi Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Govinda Ghosh Thakur ki jai. Tadiya Shubhatira Bhav Titi ki jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsidevai Priyai Keshavashaja. Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams. Oh, and there's one thing I should mention. Last night, the day before Ekadashi, last night, I quickly wrote something and sent out on our Gaudiya Kirtan mailing list, because every Ekadashi, I give an update on our Gaudiya Kirtan mailing list. And if you're not subscribed to that, let me know, and I can, if you want to subscribe, you can let me know, and I can sign you up. You can just send me your email. But what am I saying? Oh yeah, so I wrote in that group that I made 2 groups last night. One is on Facebook, and one is on WhatsApp. And the purpose of the group is to, it's kind of like a motivational kind of, what do you say, support group, a peer group where we can help each other. Well, we can encourage each other to add some kind of practice of kirtan into our everyday. So Pramila Mataji said that she got the email. Cool. Yeah, I sent it really quickly, and then when I read the email, I was kind of embarrassed. I made a lot of mistakes because I did it so quickly. But anyhow, so what I'm planning, I'm just doing something very simple myself. Just, as soon as I wake up in the morning, after Mangalarti, then I'll go to Gurudev Samadhi to sing Guru Vashtakam. Then I will recite Shikshashtakam. Then I'll offer pranam to Tulsi Devi, and I'll chant some Harinam. Because I've gotten really weak in the past, I don't know, since Gaur Purnima time, I've just gotten really weak, and not very strong in my practice at all. And I haven't even been doing that much. So I thought, no, I should do something. But I'm not good at maintaining things if I don't have support, like encouragement from others. I'm not so self-motivated. That's why I've been able to do this daily Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading, because all of you're very kindly joining me in this. So I thought to make a group where all of us can think of something that's easy, that we can maintain, that's feasible, that goes along with our schedule. And every day, at a certain time in the day, you can check in and say, you can do it however you want. You can write Hari Bol, and Hari Bol can mean that you did it. And if you don't manage to do it, then you can, I don't know, write something else, like Mahaprabhu's Patit Pavan, I don't know. Do something like that. And every day we can check in with each other and make sure that we're sticking to our program that we make for ourselves. Oh, another thing that I'm doing in my thing is that after I finish taking nighttime prasad, so that I can do kirtan in the morning and chant early in the morning, I'm going to shut my computer and not do any more, not be on the internet anymore or anything after I take nighttime prasad. That will make it so I can go to sleep early, get a good amount of sleep, and be able to wake up early. So those are the things I'm doing. And we're going to do this until next Ekadashi. So 2 weeks. And then next Ekadashi, we can assess, we can reassess, is this a good program? Should we change it up a bit? Or, come up with any ideas. Or maybe it's not really worth doing and we shouldn't continue. So anyhow, that's the program. If you want to sign up to the Facebook page or on the WhatsApp group, send me a message and I can send you the link. And also, if you don't want to do it in a group, you're a bit more shy and you just want to do it with me, or if you want to just do it with one of your friends, you can do that also. I can send you my personal WhatsApp message and we can just do it personally together. Pramila Mataji said, I thought you were very weak when you thought health-wise. Well, I was weak health-wise for a few days because the program was so exhausting. But I'm not very strong and determined. I'm strong and determined if I have pressure from others. So that's how I'm able to do this. That's why I want to do this program. And I thought if there are others like me who need some encouragement from others and some pressure, then this will be helpful for all of us. So, all right. Oh, and I'm glad that I'm glad your mother is joining the class. Pradyumna Prabhu's mother, she's very, in 1966, she received a Bhagavad Gita from Srila Prabhupada. So very fortunately, fortunately lady, very sweet, and I'm very happy that she's able to join the class. It's auspicious for us. All right, Dandavat Pranams. Jai Shri Radhe. Oh, and Pradyumna is asking, is the Mridanga from Goloka as compared to the bongo drum? I don't understand the question. Anyways, you can send me a message on WhatsApp then. Okay, Jai Shri Radhe, Haribol. See you all tomorrow.